Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to TV Skywriter. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm Patricia Avery. I do the Durham Skywriter. That's Durham, North Carolina's online community paper. So today, for the first time in a couple of weeks, TV Skywriter. That's where I introduce you to people you should know, writers, musicians, creative people, people of faith, people of businesses, whatever. Even you can be a guest on TV Skywriter if you contact me. Now, today's guest is Don John, 25-year-old up-and-coming comedian who also lives in my town, Durham, North Carolina. Welcome to the show, Don John.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, tell us how you got started in comedy, because sometimes when I see comedians being interviewed, I say to myself, they're not funny at all. How did they become a comedian? So how did you get interested in comedy?
Well, I've always wanted to do comedy, but at the time it was more like something I just wanted to do in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to college in 2008. I went to A&T University, and I went for meteorology.
Really?
After 2.5 years, I dropped out because my heart was no longer in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was lost for a couple years after that. And
Wow.
I prayed about it and I asked, what is my purpose? And slowly after that, I've been getting little signs pointing me to comedy. Like, I will chat with people on games like Words with Friends, and people will comment and tell me how I make them laugh through their pain.
Okay. That's a gift, actually, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice. Now,
and that's how it started. And then I heard someone talk about comedy camps and found out I was too old for those, but they offered classes.
Okay.
And last October, I discovered a class in Chapel Hill at DSI Comedy Theater, and I took a class, and that's how I got started.
I always wondered about that. So can you actually learn how to be funny, or do you already have to be funny?
You can't teach funny. You have to already have it. But the classes teach you how to enhance your funny.
Okay. So what kind of humor do you like to explore? Because I know some people, I don't know all the categories, but I know there's stand-up, sketch comedy, and what's the other one? Improv.
I like sketch comedy. I haven't really done much of that. I plan to do that for YouTube. I would really love to be on a show like Saturday Night Live or something. Well, I took a class in stand-up, and I like doing that. I feel like stand-up will give me connections to do other things.
Stand-up looks lonely, though, because you're up there by yourself. I don't know. Have you done that yet? I know you took the class, but have you done it yet?
Well, for the class, they had, for like a graduation, they had a student showcase. And that was the first time we got on stage. And it was open to the public.
Wow.
And because you're standing there and you're like, nobody knows me. And I did well. I was made the headliner.
Okay.
And we each did a 3-minute set. But my instructor was so impressed with me, I had to do the least work. So I only wrote out a little less than half of my set.
Okay.
And made up the rest on stage.
Wow. That takes confidence.
Yes.
So did you already have the confidence, or did the confidence come, through your, and actually April says, and skill, definitely skill. So do you gain confidence in class, or were you already walking in there, I'm going to be funny, I'm going to make the world laugh?
You gain it in class because the class teaches you how to be in front of people and how to speak through the mic, and proper ways to tell a joke, like the science behind the joke.
Oh, okay. Now, this is cheating because I have not paid tuition, But if you could give us some hints as to how to do comedy, I assume, unless you're doing improv, you have to write it down. So does it start with a joke and then you work the story around it? Or does it start with a situation and then you make up the joke to make it funny?
It depends. It depends on the person.
Okay.
See, me, I just talk about things, and I guess it's just funny to people. Like, I have this bit where I talk about my experience with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is a baker, and 2 years ago we were at the Got to Be North Carolina Festival in Raleigh,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom was selling her. She makes this cake called key lime cake.
Okay.
She's probably one of the few people who actually make it in cake form.
Yeah, because I've heard of key lime pie.
Yes, okay, and she's working on cupcakes next.
Okay.
And a lady next to her was selling gluten-free pound cake.
Okay.
And my mom was begging me to try out this cake, and I told her that cake was really dry.
Mm-hmm.
Like gluten-free, I already had low expectations. Like, I need my gluten.
Okay.
And, the lady didn't know how bad it was. I wanted to tell her so bad, but there was too many people around. I didn't want to embarrass her.
Oh, no.
And
so
her mom has been her taste tester.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been lying her whole life.
See, you never ask your mom to be the judge. Oh, man. So did she?
My mom has me taste things because she can't taste, because she quit smoking several years ago.
I thought when you quit smoking, your sense of taste was enhanced.
Nope. Her sense of taste and smell has all gone since she quit smoking.
Oh.
It's like it goes in and out.
Okay. So what happened with this lady, though? I mean, you didn't laugh at her, right?
No, but I told my mom it felt like a Brillo pad. And like,
oh, no.
if I could put gluten in a bottle and just spray it on, that would be great. That cake needed some serious help. If a cat had eaten that cake, it would have scraped away all 9 lives.
Oh my God. Well, that's really unfortunate. That is really unfortunate.
It should be a crime because I somehow felt assaulted by this cake.
Assaulted and peppered.
Yes, it's like I didn't know anything could be that dry, and nobody told her. Like, that's what made me mad. Nobody told her the truth.
So this actually sounds like this could be the basis for a bunch of different sketches or jokes. On one hand, a person who's cooking something and very proud of it, not realizing how bad it is. And then you could do a bit on not trusting your parents no matter what, because they're going to tell you, they don't want to hurt your feelings. And then trying not to laugh at somebody in public and embarrassing them. That's 3 different sketches right there from one situation.
Because, see, the proper way to do it would be to pull her aside and tell her, her cake could use a bit of improvement.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gluten-free, so I don't know how she could improve it other than putting some gluten in it.
There must be another way. It's just that maybe she didn't have the skill and maybe the wrong taster judge. I don't know.
I don't know.
Now, when you were a kid, were you the class cut up or were you the quiet one in the back making everybody else laugh?
No, I was the quiet one, but I wasn't really making anybody laugh. When I went to school, I was there to learn. I did my homework, and I was ready to go home.
Okay. So when did you discover you had a funny bone? You said you preyed on it and you were sort of led to comedy, but there must have been some hint before then.
Like a few years ago, my cousin and I, we hang out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We go to South Point a lot, either South Point or Northgate.
Mm-hmm.
And people near us will be laughing at us. That's how I knew a little bit.
Okay. Overhearing your conversation.
Mm-hmm. People be nosy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then, like, when people feeling depressed, I always find some type of way to make them laugh at their situation. As a comedian, we have a third eye. Like, we can see the humor in everything, even if it makes most people uncomfortable.
Actually, the goal of some comedians is to make people uncomfortable, especially like the political ones. And I remember one. This was actually scary. Now, have you heard of Dick Gregory?
Uh-huh.
Okay. For those of you who might not know about Dick Gregory, he is probably, I'm sure he's in his 80s by now, but he started out as a comedian and then became a sort of like a socially conscious, kind of like an old school Black version of George Carlin, but better. I'm not trying to judge, but I'm just saying, okay, so I went to Talladega College in Alabama, and Dick Gregory was the speaker, the comedian, whatever, entertainer. And now it's hard for me to sit still. And I've been told I move around too much, even during my interviews. So I was sitting there. I said, I'm going to watch Dick Gregory. I'm going to do my best to sit still. And I sat there, and I was still sitting there. Okay, the show started at 6:00 that evening. I was still sitting there like this at 10:00. And it scared me to death that he had us absolutely mesmerized. He started out with comedy and making us laugh. And then he got into the serious social conscious stuff. And he brought us right along there with him. And we sat there for 4 hours. It was almost miraculous. I could not believe he was that good. So
yeah, when they're good, you'll do it.
Unbelievable. Now, so you said you were quiet as a kid. So did you start making funny observations as a young adult and sharing them with your friends? I mean, not actually doing comedy, but you said you were being laughed at and hopefully with at the mall. But you must have known
always making observations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quiet a lot of times, but I see everything.
Okay. So do you keep, or is there such a thing as a comedy notebook? In other words, funny things that happen to you or funny things that you see?
I do.
So what do you do with them?
Like, I'll just write down lists of things that happen throughout the day, if anything happens, and then later on I'll go back. Like, I'll write just enough so when I go back to it, I can start playing around with different joke ideas and just see what happens.
So it seems that it would be scary to wait to try your material in front of an audience. So I'm guessing you try out your material in the mirror?
Yes, I am an introvert.
Okay, so do you work it out first in front of a mirror or your family or what?
Most of my jokes I can work in through conversation. So it might not be in joke form the way it will sound on stage. But I can just toss out different ideas in conversation, see how it lands.
Oh, okay. Now, one of our viewers is saying he's quiet most of the time. Is he an introvert?
Yes, very.
Okay.
I'd much rather be in the background.
I'm a very shy introvert myself. I'm extremely shy, and in fact, well, I'm in my element. I'm a journalist. I'm supposed to be interviewing people. This is my job. It took a while to get used to doing this, but I'm comfortable with it now. But years ago, I could not have done this. It's something you have to work yourself. You just jump in. You try. In your case, you did take some classes at least. I wish I had taken some classes, but through practice, it actually becomes fun. And I'm very shy, but I always tell people when they tell me they're too shy to come on the show, I usually tell them, well, shyness is usually cute and adorable up to age 14. And after that, you've got to step forward and do what you got to do.
Yes. If you want to get anywhere with anything, you have to be more vocal and step out there.
Right. Now, you say you see something funny in everything. Is that really true? I'm going to give you an example of what my mom did, but you go ahead and tell me, can you actually see something funny in everything? even stuff that people might think is bad.
Most things I'll say. Like I've been known to laugh at funerals just because of something I've seen or just thought about.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That reminds me. My sister and I, we were kids and we were at a cousin's wedding, and one of the notes of the organ was stuck. And it took all the power we had to not fall out laughing because we knew every time he hit the certain A or G or whatever it was, that it was going to, and it was so funny to us. But it took us, and I'll tell you something. I'm going to tell you about another funny story about me and my sister. But let me tell you about my mom. Okay, now as a family, we used to sit around and listen to comedy albums. And I don't know why, we just love comedy. And my parents taught us, they brought us up very nicely. And, you know, oh, okay. Yeah, totally get the funeral laughter. I'm sure you set off the crowd there. But anyway, let me go on. My brother died at age 21. There's nothing funny about that. All right. And of course, I was devastated. I was 26. My brother died. It was sudden. I mean, it was tragic. All right. So my nerves are already raw. Day of his funeral. Nothing funny, right? So day of the funeral, I'm at home. I'm distraught. I've never been to the funeral of a young person. I just don't know what to do. Doorbell rings. Person brings the funeral programs. So I need some water. So I look at this program, right? I look at this program and I'm speechless because there's a misspelled word. At the time when I was 26, I was a proofreader, so misspelled words really hit me hard. So I ran upstairs to my mom, and I should have known better. My mom was probably more distraught than me. She's the mom. I was just the sister. So I'm distraught, and I'm upset. I tell my mom, Mom, they spelled remembrance wrong. Oh, and I was just all upset and distraught. And my mom said, she said, well, if your brother was still alive, he'd probably spell it the same way. And I was, that takes a lot of grace, but that is hilarious and amazing that she could come up with that on the funeral, the day of the funeral of her only son. That was brilliant. She should have been a comedian.
It's funny that we talk about funerals because my cousin and I are planning on doing a sketch about funerals, like
really?
if the dead could respond at their funeral.
Oh man, that should be good. Can you give us a hint of what you're going to do?
Nope.
You're going to make us wait. Okay, well, tease us. That's okay.
Wait. You can find me on Instagram. I'll post a snippet before it gets to YouTube.
Okay. You know, I had suggested to you when we were talking on the phone, I'm thinking that what you should do, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just saying, I'm older than you. Get off my lawn. I can tell you what to do. Okay. So I'm saying if you go to Periscope every day with a little funny observation, all right, then you can tell people where to find you on YouTube and Instagram and where else are you?
Snapchat.
Yeah.
Google Plus.
You should do that. You should do that. Any comedian should, in fact, any entertainer should do that. In fact, I'm on Periscope every day. I read announcements, Bull City Notes about what's happening in Durham. And of course, I'm guiding people over to the Durham Skywriter. And my readership has really blossomed since then. And I'm thinking that's a really good way to get attention, is to become a regular on Periscope. Or I know Tachi is also on Meerkat. And what's the other one?
Tachi is everywhere. Like I don't have the time.
But are you thinking you might try that? I think it's a good idea.
I don't know, because see, I'm introverted. See, this is a struggle. Like, it's like you want to do things, but then you don't want to leave the house. But you have to leave the house to like notice things.
You don't leave the house for Periscope? Oh, you mean to see things? Okay.
Yeah, to make my observations, because they're not going to happen in my front lawn.
But here's the thing. You got internet, right? So
yes,
the news is hilarious. I mean, you can just flip through the news and see if anything hits you funny?
Oh, just looking at Donald Trump makes me laugh.
See, there you go. There you are. Of course, that's too easy, though.
Because he looks like, when you warm up milk too much and you get that skin on top.
Oh, and then you put hair on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I really think you need to do it.
Styling him though.
What else? What else hits you? Actually, let me ask you this: like jazz musicians listen to other jazz musicians, and when I was doing radio, I was enamored of radio interviewers like Diane Rehm, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope, or maybe I should just ask you, as a comedian, are you listening to, watching, and studying other comedians?
Yes, there's a bunch. My favorite of all time is Steve Harvey.
Okay. And why is that?
My mom tells me that my style is more like his because it's more relatable.
Okay.
Like he don't talk just about the black experience. Like it's something that everybody can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be from a certain place to get it.
Mm-hmm. Now, have you reached back and checked out any comedians from the past?
Nope. But from the I'm more current with comedians. Like there's a whole bunch out now. Like Arana Lopez, she's now on Wild Now.
Okay.
But I found her on YouTube. And like we've been talking on social media for several years, and she's helped me through this journey.
Is she one of those people who was discovered on YouTube?
No. Well, I don't know if she was or not. I just stumbled upon her channel one day. I was like, I like this woman.
And you actually spoke with her. You contacted her?
Yes, like she will shout me out on Periscope when I come in.
Okay.
Because she knows we've had this online friendship for so long.
Well, if you're getting shouted out on Periscope, then you need to be on Periscope. I'm just saying. Think about it.
Or I could just be in the comment section.
Well, actually, that's another way to get known. That's true. And what happens, it is true that when you are on Periscope, what's the other one, Meerkat or whatever, and even Blab, and you make comments on the side, people will start noticing you. Followers, really. I've gotten a lot of followers that way by dropping in on other people's Blabs and Periscopes.
That's where all of mine come from.
Well, there you go. But you yourself should instigate some things by having your own Periscopes. Have you? Now I know you're on Blab now, but have you done your own Blabs at all?
No, it's just I don't know.
Well, tell us about the Woke Squad. Tell us about the Woke Squad, because that was on Blab, and I think you said you did your last show last week.
Yes, the Woke Squad. Like it consists of me and 3 ladies, 3 Black women. We talk about social issues in the Black community, and we throw some humor in there.
Okay.
And we had our last show last Wednesday, but we will be back at some point. We don't know when. We're just on hiatus to focus on our individual careers.
Okay. I did watch your debut, and it was good. I watched it, in fact, right before coming on the air here. I watched your debut. What do you call it? Pilot episode.
And we all met on Periscope.
Oh, really?
We met under Tanika Phillips Oliveira. She does this thing on YouTube on Periscope called Tea with Tanika. And she does celebrity gossip and stuff, and we just have a good time in there.
Nice.
And we all met under there in like few days if I would like to start something with them.
Okay.
And be a contributor.
Now, a question is being asked, is it intimidating? And if you could elaborate just a bit, I'm wondering what you're asking. I want to know what it is that you're asking about when you say, is it intimidating? Oh, is Blab and Periscope intimidating?
It can't, if you are not an outgoing person, it can be. Just being on that other side of the thing, everybody see you and look at. Because my day to day is not that interesting right now.
Yeah.
And I see people's scopes and I be bored to death.
I know. I hate when they just sit there like this and they read they say, hello from Russia, hello from Paris, bonjour. And I'm just like, oh, come on.
That could have been a Snapchat.
Oh, man. And that drives me absolutely nuts. I'm like, why are you even on Periscope if you're just going to sit there and read what everybody types?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, and then people do the other thing where they're driving at the same time, which I don't mind.
A lot of people do mind.
Depending on where the phone is when they're driving. Because you can tell a lot of times they're doing it safely where it's like in a holder or it's in the line of sight. But some people,
you still see them going like this, reading the messages,
Like some people, you see them like turn their head to look down at the phone. I don't care for that.
Well, to me,
like, I'm not about to watch somebody die.
To me, if they're looking at, if they can read your name, which is usually much smaller than the comment, then I know they need to just pull over. Or they have supervision. I'm just saying. That is the most dangerous. Like you said, the last thing I want to see is somebody, running off the road and dying in a fiery crash. That's not my idea of a nice Sunday afternoon.
And then you have those who do drive while they're periscoping, but they don't look at their phone. They just talk.
That's okay, I guess. But then I remember hearing about, I think it was one of those country singers, I think George Jones. This is before Periscope. He totally ran off the road just speaking on the phone. So some of us cannot multitask. So to me, if you're going to really get into something, just pull over. I mean, have you ever seen any talk show host drive? I can't imagine Diane Rehm driving while doing an NPR talk show. I just don't see it. So if she's not going to do it, I figure, why should anybody?
Yeah.
So now I want to answer the question myself about if it's intimidating, Blab and Periscope. Periscope is different from Blab in a way. Periscope, you're by yourself. Well, I've seen people share Periscope. They have their kids behind them or whatever. But for the most part, people think you're talking. Well, they say, I don't want to be there talking to myself. Now, I have a different viewpoint. As a journalist, I'm repurposing my Periscopes anyway. So I know that even if nobody's watching me as I'm doing my show, I know I'm going to put it up on Facebook in a couple of minutes. So I never consider when I'm doing Periscope and I'm out there just by myself. It still takes nerve to push that start button or click the start button. And I know I'm always, making sure, get my little drink, making sure everything's just right. And I'm, take a deep breath. And then I push the button and then everything's just start talking. It's intimidating. To me, clicking that red button is the scariest part. Now, as far as Blab is different because I've seen people on Blab by themselves, but for the most part, they're usually with somebody else. Have you seen?
Yeah, I see most Blabs there with other people, which that is fine, but it just feels like you're talking into a screen and you can't see nobody for a while anyways.
Yeah. My first Blab, I had no viewers. 0. And I was like, come on, people are sleeping and getting viewers. I actually watched a show where the person was there and I checked back every like few hours. This guy was 8 hours. He was like, that was his show. And he was getting viewers for days. And I was like, how is this man getting viewers and he's sound asleep? And I'm up here interviewing somebody important of local interest and nobody's here. But life is what it is. It's just that. It's not that big a deal. Blab is less intimidating. The weird thing about Blab is that you continuously have to look at the comments on the side and make sure you're not ignoring people. And that's kind of, it's not intimidating. It's just a skill that I have to develop better. And I do see that repurposing. Yes, repurposing is a really, really good way to use these periscopes, blabs, meerkats, and Facebook Lives. Tachi said she's also on Facebook Live. So have you tried Facebook Live yet, Don John?
I've been watching people on Facebook Live, but don't you need a Facebook like a professional page for that, or does anybody just use it?
Ooh, good question. Tachi can tell us because I don't know. I know it first started with celebrities, and then thanks for stopping by, Donald. Thank you. Definitely, he has a good show too. Really, really good. I don't know. I know they started Facebook Live with celebrities, and then certain people, and then they rolled it out to everyone. But I don't know if you have to have a fan page or professional page. I really hope that, yeah, Tashi's still here. Maybe she can type in and answer that question. I honestly don't know who gets to use Facebook Live and how.
Everyone I've seen have had fan pages.
Okay. See, I don't have a fan page, so I don't know how to do that. Now, there's something about Twitter too. I don't know if it's Blab or Periscope, but now when you send out, when you notify people that you're online, that it'll show live in Twitter. I think that's Periscope. I think it happens in Periscope. I'm not sure. I think they just add.
That's in Periscope.
But I just saw something on Blab where you can also show Blab live. I think there's an embed code or something. I haven't really explored it yet, but I think you can send your Blabs live to people, and they can click on it and join the show. I'm not quite sure how that works exactly. But so tell me a little bit more about being funny. I want to tell you a funny story about my sister and I, but I want you to address this question I'm going to ask you, and that is, have you ever set off inadvertently laughter in a public setting? And that leads into my story. So I'm going to ask you if you've ever set people off.
None other than like people I've been talking to.
Okay.
Like there was a time my cousin and I, we were in the process of filming. We was doing something on YouTube, and it's on her channel. We were talking about White History Month, but before we actually recorded, she was telling me a story of something that her father said to her about her appearance, and I was like, he's just telling the truth.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't think about it all the way out. But she started laughing.
And that set you off, I'm sure.
Yes.
That's funny. Let me tell you what happened during the Chicago Jazz Festival one year. I love jazz. My sister and I went to the Chicago Jazz Festival years ago. This is the world's largest free outdoor jazz festival, so it's humongous. And I never knew that years later I'd be working for those people. But anyway, so here we are. It just so happened the way they have it situated, the band shell, like I said, it's live, it's outdoors. The band shell is like in Grant Park, downtown Chicago. Thousands of people are out there, and they have rows and rows and rows of seats for people so they can sit and enjoy the music. My sister and I were able to snag like in the back, the last row. So we were able to snag 2 seats. So we're sitting there, all right. And actually, this was not the Chicago Jazz Festival. This was another jazz festival. I'm sorry, but it was jazz. So anyway, here's the thing. It was a tribute to Duke Ellington, all right? This whole night was supposed to be a tribute to Duke Ellington. So the music was melodic. It was pretty. Different groups were coming on playing Duke Ellington music. And then this one guy, solo piano guy, he was introduced, and I'm not going to dare say his name because he's still in the business and I don't want to disrespect anyone, but he started playing this discordant, crazy sounding jazz on the piano. It sounded like all wrong notes. It sounded crazy, like he was just making it up and just freaking out. And so, and so my sister said, she said something weird. She said something like, oh, the name of the song was Searching for Duke. All right. Which is, of course, referring to Duke Ellington. So my sister said, Searching for Duke. I sure hope he finds him soon. Or rather, I hope he finds him soon. And I started giggling. And then she started giggling. And see, we could feel as the music was going, people were not liking this music because we had been hearing all this beautiful music all night. And this discordant, dissonant, almost ugly music was setting people off on edge. And we could feel the tension. All right. And so the crowd was not happy. Mm-hmm. So when my sister said, Searching for Duke, I sure hope he finds him soon, that kind of, it set us off. I started giggling. She started giggling. And then the people in the row ahead of us were singing, or did I say singing? I mean, laughing. So I'm laughing. She's laughing. The people ahead of us were laughing. The people behind us were laughing. And soon our whole section, it was like we were in a fit of hysterics because the tension was so high. And so we were crying. It was like almost like a crazy religious experience because we were falling out because we were just laughing. It was like cathartic. We were laughing so hard. And people in the other sections were looking at us like, what's going on over there? It was so fun. I've never seen anything like that happen again. But it was amazing how contagious it was.
You have to distract from that bad
I know,
music.
right? But have you ever experienced any kind of contagious laughter like that?
No.
It's something to behold. I mean, you can cure cancer with that stuff. I'm serious. I mean, we felt so much better after we laughed. It was really great.
I'm sure, because after dealing with all that, after having your nose bled out.
Almost. Have you ever considered, okay, with your humor, because I'm assuming you're a clean comedian, you're not one of those vulgar.
Not vulgar, I will say mostly clean.
Have you ever considered going to like places because I met someone whose job it was to make the rounds in the hospital and they'd ask, do you need any humor today? And sometimes these are like cancer patients and they'd be like, no, go away. But sometimes they'd want to be cheered up and they'd welcome them into the room and then they'd share a bunch of laughs. And she did this as a volunteer.
That is creative.
Mm-hmm. You should try it. I mean, people need laughter, especially these days. Think about it.
I mean, that's why I want to do comedy, because I know a lot of people go to these shows and things because they need the laughter to escape whatever pain they're dealing with.
Right. Let me ask you about pain, because maybe that's why I'm not a comedian. We loved laughter, but I had a sedate, nice, pleasant childhood and everything. And they say a lot of the world's best comedians come from like pain, painful lives and bad childhoods.
I wouldn't say pain like so dark, but yeah, I mean, that's where mine came from. That's where my first jokes came from. Like in my comedy showcase, I started talking about my father. He passed away a few years ago. And the thing is, he wasn't really in my life. He left me when I was 5. Ooh. But after I found out more things about him, I turned that into humor.
Hmm.
Like things that probably bother most kids going through that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I figured sharing my experience would help them get through it as well.
And give me an example if you can remember.
Like, my sister told me that when he died because of gangrene, and I
Mm.
told her that's not really how he died. He died because he had too many kids and his body was tired.
Wow.
Like, there's a lot of us on his side, a lot
Oh,
of us,
okay.
and that number changes. Like
Really? Okay.
that's how many. Like, I'm not the youngest. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
youngest on my mom's side. I'm the youngest of three. But on my
Mm-hmm.
father's side, I'm probably like the middle of like 14.
Wow. Okay. Busy man. Okay. So you found the humor in it.
Yes. And I
Okay.
said that kept him busy for a long time.
I guess so.
I said the gangrene just slowed him down.
Hmm. I got you. I got you. So what are your plans now? Because you're 25,
Mhm.
you're embarking on this career of comedy. I can't imagine it's in uh, that I mean it's easy or that you're going to be an instant success right away, like tomorrow. It might take a couple of weeks. Um, I mean, I don't know how easy it is to be a comedian. So how are you going to go about it?
I don't have any like major aspirations with this. Like for me, I just want to make people laugh. I don't care about being famous. I'd rather not be famous.
Oh,
But if it
okay,
happens, I'll just consider it a blessing and just accept it.
okay, okay. Do you plan to do things like come out with CDs, comedy CDs? Do you want to be in a sitcom? Do you want to have your own web series?
I do want to do a little bit of acting. Like I want to do some sitcoms and uh at DSI Comedy Theater, I've been asked to audition for their comedy team. And then I'll be a regular
Whoa.
performer in Chapel Hill at their school. And their auditions start next month and I'll be doing that.
I think you're going to make it. I mean, from student to a member of the troupe, that's a pretty big step. That's awesome. I'm going to say congratulations now. So,
It's I don't think it's gonna be that hard, but I don't
mhm,
know. They might show me something different.
mhm.
And it's like
Now,
everybody's so different. That's what I
mhm,
like about
that's good.
comedy. There's room for everybody.
Mhm. My sister, I saw my sister. I was in the audience when my sister auditioned for Second City. Not the comedy troupe that was on TV. This was the Chicago version of Second City. The one on TV was from the Toronto troupe.
Mhm.
But I watched. I was in the audience, and part of the audition was sketch. Where you work off of a script, and then the next part, which was to me the scary part, was the improv. And to my surprise, my sister made some joke during the improv that got the loudest laugh of the night. I'm not just saying that. It really was because it was surprise even to me that she came up with something. You know how the audience they give you a situation and then you do your comedy up. You just kind of riff on it. And she surprised me because my sister's not. I mean, she's funny, but it's not like she's a comedian at home. And being there, sitting in the audience, watching her, I was really impressed. It was like I was watching somebody I hadn't met yet.
That's what my mom said about me at my student showcase. Because like she hears me around the house all the time, but then
Mhm.
seeing the whole room laugh at my jokes, she said me Yes. We used to fight for years, and recently, like last 15 years, we've gotten along really well. And we're closer than ever
So
now.
she's really proud. So you said you have siblings. Are they can't CDs anymore? Do they?
Well, nowadays, people putting it on Periscope. They just broadcasting their act now.
Mm-hmm. But you still
But
want
people do sell CDs, but it's more like,
because you
I
want to make
don't
some
know if
money.
they sell well.
Well, you want to make some money. I mean, your fans would buy them. I would think.
I'm pretty sure, but you know, I'm gonna have different streams of income with that, so
That's smart.
that's what I want to do.
Now, the world of I saw the world of comedy change when I was a kid because when I was a kid watching comedy on, I'm going to mention some shows you might not have heard of, Ed Sullivan, and I'm just going to stop there. Just general variety shows.
I've heard of that show.
Okay.
I didn't look at any of it,
But see,
but
here's
I
the
have
thing.
heard of it.
Here's the thing. Back in the 60s, comedians, and we would love, oh my God, when the black comedians were on, like Moms Mabley. You need to go back. You said you watched the current comedians, but just like with anybody in any field, you should know the history of your, you know, your career of choice. You really should know. It's kind of like
There are a couple people from like that's been in it for a while, or people who've since passed on, like Red Fox, Richard Pryor, and can't remember his name, but he's on Periscope all the time now.
Okay, but see, knowing the history is good because the role of the black comedian, not that you're just going to be just a black comedian, but the nature of comedy changes through the years. Like I said, when I was a kid, you could use the same, what's the word, routine throughout the whole year because, you know, you're on the Tonight Show and then maybe 6 months later, maybe you're on another show or the Tonight Show or Ed Sullivan or whatever. And you could use the same routine all year. But now
you can still do that now, except the problem with now, that's why a lot of people don't like people recording their shows because if it's online, people get tired of it quickly.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So people have had to really run through more material and get more writers in the modern era. And also, when I was a kid, most of the black comedians, now there were the comedy records in brown paper wrappers, and those were the adult. So I know that there's always been X-rated comedy, but for the stuff that we saw on TV, some of these same comedians, like Red Fox, who did put out a lot of what they call party records, X-rated records, they did humor for families and kids. In fact, Richard Pryor first started out, his first routine was about his kindergarten class. Richard Pryor is known for being risque and etc. But the punchline of his very first comedy routine I remember was, "My name is Rumpelstiltskin and I'm a Mimi," and that was recalling his kindergarten days. And through the years, he evolved into a more adult comedian. And I think people like Bill Cosby. Now I know I'm not going to say anything about the current Bill Cosby problems, but he's the most brilliant comedian I can think of in that he built his career on his childhood stories. And of course, you know, the Fat Albert cartoons are based on his childhood stories. He made records. He had TV shows where he's able to use the same humor. But then he did something that no other comedian, except maybe Richard Pryor, has done. And he grew along with his audience. He started out telling childhood stories and it eventually evolved to telling stories about being a parent. And I don't know if he told about being a grandparent, but he's being a parent and an adult. And that is brilliant. When you know your audience so well that you can do that and grow with them, that's brilliant. So I really hope that you study these guys because you can learn an awful lot. And watch, of course, the white ones too, the Jewish ones, learn about the Borscht Belt. My very
The what?
See, you gotta know. You gotta know. The Borscht Belt. Okay, rich Jewish people would go to the Catskill Mountains in upstate New York. There were it was called the Borscht Belt for whatever reason. I think borscht is a kind of food, I believe. But anyway, that's where the Jewish comedians would go, and they play to these crowds, and they, yes, and Tachi says it's beets. It's some kind of beets and vinegar and stuff, really horrible stuff that you see in the stores in New York City. And ooh. But anyway, so they would hone their skills at the Borscht, in their Borscht Belt clubs, and then we see them later on TV. And with the Black communities, it was the Chitlin Circuit. You got to know this stuff now. I want you to read up on it and report back to me.
I didn't know the Chitlin Circuit.
The Black comedians had the Chitlin Circuit, all right, and the Hispanic Latino people had the Cuchifrito Circuit. Mm-hmm. And their brand of humor is a whole different thing too, because they also talk about immigration and being new to this country, et cetera, et cetera. So that's your assignment. Learn your history. You can't go out here just knowing about the current stuff.
Yeah, I look at some older stuff.
Okay.
As long as it's in color.
No.
Black and white. Or I can find a podcast or something.
You must study the black and white as well. My favorite comedian of all time is not even Black. He's Jack Benny. He's from the Chicago area, became an international star back in the 40s, and he probably died in the 70s. But he's my very favorite comedian. He's Jewish, and his thing was playing the violin. That was his shtick, you know. But the reason why I like Jack Benny so much was because even though I'm not a comedian, I like being funny, and I like to, part of my fun interacting with people is being the straight man or straight person, where I know the joke is there, but I don't say the funny line. I set it up and let the other person say the funny line. It just makes the experience more fun. And that's Jack Benny's forte. He was very generous. He worked with a troupe of players. He had a TV show, he had a radio show, but his brilliance was in being the straight guy in the middle, and everybody else was funny around him. In fact, Jerry Seinfeld, that's the basis of his humor. And things would be going crazy all around Jack Benny, and he'd sit there like this. And he'd say, wow. And he'd do this, wow. The crowd will fall out because he set it up so that's all he had to do, because he set it up so that everything else around him was crazy and he didn't have to be crazy himself. So he's in black and white. He's okay. Totally in black and white. But I want you to study these guys because it's kind of like being a musician and not being a jazz musician and not learning anything by Count Basie, Duke Ellington, or Quincy Jones. I mean, what kind of jazz can you play if you don't know how to play the standards? If you just say, I'm going to play my own, in fact, I know a couple of musicians, they say, I play my own music. I don't play anybody else's music. I just play my own music. And then you listen to them and it's like, maybe they should have learned some of the standards, because you learn the building blocks of your art by learning what other people have done before you. Even if you go on your own and say, I'm going to totally do a whole different thing, at least learn what has come before you. Mm-hmm. You know? And I think it's really important. And I think that will bring a whole lot of depth to what you're doing, because sometimes I'll watch something on the Disney Channel and I'll see something that cracks me up that I know the kids aren't even getting. I was watching High School Musical and they did a whole scene based on Busby Berkeley, which was a choreographer from the 1930s. I fell out when I noticed it. I noticed that they did some things that were obviously aimed at older people. And I fell out laughing. And I'm sure the kids, the 10-year-olds didn't have a clue. But see, when you have that kind of depth, you can do things and the kids might not get it, but the adults will be falling out. Then you can do something that maybe the hip hop generation will laugh at, and the adults might be, I didn't quite get that, but that's okay. Because if you can appeal to different groups And when I say groups, I mean different racial groups too, age, whatever. Mm-hmm. That's where true brilliance comes to the fore. You got to have that depth. That's your assignment. Grasshopper.
Because there are some people like I've heard of, but I haven't really thought about like actually looking at everything they've done. Now, some I kind of grew up with their stuff on the TV already, so I kind of knew about that.
Okay. Well, even study the people you see on TV, because people might be surprised, like if they watch Sanford and Son. I mean, they might say, "Oh, I know Red Fox," but they might not know his beginnings in the more adult humor, and how he realized that he would have to tone it down in order to make money and appeal to a wider audience. And he made money all right.
I've listened to a few. I've seen a few of his sets on YouTube. Because at the time, I grew up when they were still showing reruns of like Sanford and Son. I thought they were new at the time. Didn't know they had been dead for years.
That's okay.
But when I found out he did stand up, I just looked on YouTube when YouTube was a thing, became a thing. I looked
still
him up.
It's still a thing, isn't it? I hope it is.
It is a thing, okay. But when it became a thing, I looked him up and I liked him, but yeah, it was a bit much language-wise.
Yeah. Well,
now you have some you can tolerate it because they're still funny, and then some are just over the top.
Yeah, but it's still good to study just to know, especially to keep these people's career. Now, another, like Moms Mabley, some of her humor was adult, but when I saw her, as a kid, when she was on the comedy shows, the variety shows rather, when I was a youngster, of course, she only told her clean jokes, of course. Some people are able to appeal to different audiences at the same time, but you know darn well if you're going to be on TV, you have to be clean.
Yes. Which I am just naturally clean anyways.
That's good. So I really enjoyed talking with you, Don John. I'm really looking forward to seeing you really take off.
I'm looking forward to seeing it too.
So tell us how we can keep up with you. All of us want to keep up with you. All of us watching here.
You can find me on Twitter at DonJohn90, Instagram at DonJohn90, Snapchat at Comedian Don John, and that's it.
Okay, and then you'll be bringing back the Woke Squad within what, a couple months, weeks, or
it might be months, it might be years.
Don't make us wait.
Look, three of us are working in entertainment, and we just want to focus on that for a little bit.
Okay,
but we will still be on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/woke squad.
Okay.
Well, so we can keep these conversations going.
Yeah, because to me, I'm just guessing because I didn't know about the Woke Squad before, but I'm guessing that you built up an audience, which you have abandoned. So to me, if you have built up an audience, tease them a little bit with just a little something, even if it's once a month. Like, okay, when I was involved in cable access TV in Chicago, you only had to tape, I'm trying to think, you only had to tape 2 shows for the month, believe it or not. If you had a weekly series, because your first show and you usually tape your show the same day. So your first show would air the first and third day of, Wednesday, Sunday, whatever. And then the second show we recorded would air on the second and fourth day of whatever day you choose. So it doesn't take a whole lot of work to have a series. I mean,
and we're already planning things we want to do for when we come back, like teasers.
Okay.
Like we're just figuring out what we're going to do with that. And we're also we have a YouTube channel, which we'll be uploading all of our previous episodes.
Good. Because
right now we're having some problems with YouTube.
Oh, technical problems?
Yeah, because we tried to upload another episode,
Mhm.
but YouTube flagged it, tried to say it had hate speech in it.
Oh. Ooh.
So we're trying to
Hmm.
figure out what's going on.
Oh. Well, you could probably contact them and ask them what material was it that was in question. Uh,
Yeah, we're looking into it.
yeah. Well, maybe you can just skip over that one and just upload the rest for now. So.
And for people that follow me on Instagram, you will see snippets of YouTube videos before they go up, but they will be on Instagram first. And I already have a few sketches I've done with my cousin.
Awesome.
We're going to be more like a team on YouTube.
Nice. Now, your cousin, you mentioned her yesterday, and I didn't write her name down. So, how can we find?
Her name is Britta J. I'm typing it in now.
Okay, thank you. Oh, no wonder I couldn't find it. Two eyes. Britta J. Okay, so you're going to be doing comedy with her on her channel or on your channel?
On her channel.
Okay, definitely we need to write that down then. Britta J. Okay. I think you're going to blow up. You are totally going to blow up. And I'm going to say, I interviewed that young man at the start of his career or near the start of his career. So I really look forward to following you and seeing what you come up with. I hope to see you on Periscope, even though you say it might be a little intimidating. It is. I admit it. It is.
I'm starting small. I'm using my Snapchat a little bit more.
Okay. I have to get into Snapchat. I have to figure out what that's all about.
Yeah, you got to get into it.
I do. Right now, I get Snapchat and Instagram confused. But once I figure it out, I'll be all up in it. And in fact, Tachi says that she likes Snapchat. Tachi, did you want to jump in at all? Tachi, this is so funny. So Tachi's in Florida, and she tells you, Don John, who's in Durham, to check me out, and I'm in Durham. So,
hey.
Oh, first time seeing me on camera. Yes, well, there I am. Well, Tachi, if you want to jump in, just let us know. Just let us know.
Yeah, I tell you.
And me and Tachi connected through Tanika's Periscope.
Okay. Periscope and Blab to me. Oh, she's coming on. Great. Okay. This is such a cool platform. For those of you who are watching, I admit it's intimidating at first, but once you really get into Periscope and Blab and you're in front of the camera, you'll be amazed at the connections you start making. I have connected with so many people who will be future guests on TV Skywriter. I have met people who are talking about things like autism, things that I don't know about that I want to highlight in my community newspaper, and we're going to make those connections. Where's this voice? I'm hearing another voice.
My aunt answered her phone.
Oh, she answered it loudly. That's okay.
Yeah, that's her.
Oh, thank you. Are you serious?
That's how she does things.
That's fun.
Oh, have mercy.
It's the struggle of living with people.
You're kidding me.
That is funny. There is a South African TV commercial where the code word is serious, and they say they're on the phone. Serious? Are you serious? And they just go on and on. That's what she reminds me of. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, a lot of that happens.
No. So we're waiting for Tachi to join us. She said, "Hold on." So she's probably getting her laptop in position, and we will wait for Tachi. Anybody else want to join us or ask a question? She said, "Somebody's at the door. Hold on." Okay.
And Bomb Shiru was our honorary Woke Squad member.
Awesome. Bomb Shiru, you want to come on?
When one of us would be out, when one of us was out, she would fill in.
Okay. She has a question, so you could either type it out or join us.
What's your question, Mom?
Let us know what you want to do.
I'm nervous because she can go left real quick.
I'm so glad. Well, that was a mistake right there.
Your aunt tickled me.
I know it's.
I was trying to.
And she
having a
gives me a
problem
lot
trying
of
to make
material to talk
room.
about around the house
Mhm.
that she's not even aware of. But my mom and I would be talking.
Were you born funny? Did you one day look around and see that you were funny?
Mhm.
Okay. Were you?
I think I've always been funny,
Yeah.
but
But
I
Lord, I
didn't
just
really
can't believe it
notice
even dawned on
until
me.
a few years ago.
I didn't even notice that.
Okay, I clicked, so I hope she can come through.
There she
Hey,
goes.
Tachi.
Hey, Tachi.
Oh, you're muted.
Man.
You're muted.
Lord, I better,
You're still
I
muted.
have
No.
thing.
You are
Mm-hmm.
muted. No escucha.
But you look
Yeah.
fly, though.
Lipstick on fleek. You know, my aunt used to say all the time, she used to say, I declare.
But I tell you,
I
it was kind of windy
Uh-huh.
last too. I mean,
Yes, that's what I hear all the time, too.
Southern worlds. I love the
I
South. I'm from
thought he
Chicago,
was
but
going to
okay, Tachi, there must be a reason why we can't hear you.
go on the bulletin, but he got different ones to but they emailed me, which was good.
I'm glad this is a
Uh,
casual blab and not like an award-winning, Emmy-nominated television show, or you'd have to tell your aunt, shh.
I know. And the thing is, see, the Woke Squad would be on a lot later. Well, just if we started at 10,
Hmm.
so a lot of times she'd be asleep.
Okay. Can't hear you yet, Tachi.
Now,
This is so weird. Okay, she said 1 minute. So click the little camera thing on your address thingy and choose the mic. And Bam Shiru says refresh.
yeah.
Refreshing solves all the problems of the world, I realize. You refresh
hmm
everything. The world is right after you refresh. She said, no. But she'll be back. Tachi will be back. Okay. Accept.
Baham says Beyonce solves
Yeah,
all the
no, she
problems in the world.
doesn't. No, come on, Tachi.
No,
Dang. If I give you some props, that'll help. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
you think?
Tachi,
Oh,
come
you know
on.
what?
The world
I see
awaits.
stuff happen. Okay, I didn't delete it. It just
And it's something about
right.
Blab.
Mhm.
It's prone to technical
But I'm
I
difficulties.
so
know.
glad you
I know. I have actually seen, I was watching a blab once where it looked like it exploded. The screen just went, and the show just ended, you know. Okay, she's going to come back. Okay.
Who
Okay,
bomb?
can you hear me now?
Beyonce?
I don't know if she means your aunt or Beyonce.
Okay.
Oh, your
I
aunt.
had this problem earlier. I did a
Okay.
Blab classic movie
No.
Blab,
Yes.
and I had this
Yes.
problem earlier. It might be
Yes.
my laptop. So I don't know what the hell, but hello.
Mhm.
Okay, my name is
That's
Chatachi
okay. That's
Egbu,
okay.
and I'm a
So
media
for our
person.
viewers, please
I'm
tell us who you
actually
are.
a media professor, but I do a Periscope and Meerkat on Wednesdays called Mediascope, and I also do an after show about that on Facebook Live. So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm all things media basically. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, yes. So
It's really fun. Yeah.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
did you have a
I
question
just came
for
on to say,
John, or did you want to throw
John,
out some accolades or
congrats.
insight?
You are going to be awesome. You are awesome, but you're going to be even more awesome. I actually, like he said, yeah, awesomer. I actually got to know him because of the Woke Squad,
Awesomer.
and I would, come, and then Tanika's Periscope. So I was like, this guy is really funny. He's hilarious. So I see nothing but great things for you, Don. Honestly, absolutely. Oh, it will happen. It will
Thank you.
happen.
Wow.
Absolutely. I don't know if you
I'm ready to travel.
go ahead.
Really? Well, actually, I wonder if you can join with some comedians and have like a comedy tour of some kind.
You know,
I'm pretty sure that can happen.
I was gonna say,
Now,
Don, that
There's a lot of
there
us down
is,
here.
you know, the podcast, The Read. Okay, so Durham Skywriter, if you don't know, The Read is a podcast.
Vicky
Two
got me on it.
One originally from Miami, the other originally from Oklahoma, and they just talk about popular culture. And at the end of their podcast, they give a read. Well, they're so popular that number one, they're rated like number 2 on iTunes below This American Life, which is huge. And then they do these tours. So Don John, you know, depending on what you do, you would be really good at colleges and that type of thing, you know. So a tour like kind of what they do, they go to different cities and they sell tickets, and then they also do like other events as well. They hold individual events. So I could totally see you doing that. In fact, you could do one thing. That would be awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, I
Oh yeah.
Now, Bob Chiru is saying that you should do the colleges, but first use all your resources like Facebook, Vine, and YouTube. That's true. Although you can do.
Well, you'll be on YouTube. Yeah.
You can do all the. Now, I knew a promoter who had a young singing star. He was from here, you know, from Durham, and his tour consisted of him singing in each North Carolina county. Now, North Carolina has 100 counties. So by the end of the tour, he had a lot of fans, a lot of fans. And some people might say, well, that sounds pretty small scale, but sometimes you have to start small. You know, I mean,
gotta build up a fan base at home first.
Exactly. I think it's more important than trying to. I mean, with Blab and Periscope, of course. I want to throw a shout out to New Bern Now, my new friend from New Bern, North Carolina. Maybe you can do some comedy in New Bern. Maybe.
Sure.
But I really think that it's a good idea to, although YouTube can gain you worldwide fame, it's really important to get your fan base at home hype about what you're doing. There's a young rapper named Sky Blue, and he's in Chapel Hill. His fan base is strong, even though he's getting known in Korea of all places because of his interest in anime. He's getting known, you know, here and there. But he's definitely concentrates on making sure that all of us here in Durham and Chapel Hill know about him and have his back.
Again,
and I think that's really important
for you. Hop on and say, "Hey, Ed, you're awesome."
So,
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Durham Skywriter.
Thank you.
And
absolutely. And my new friend at New Bern Now, Wendy, is saying that she's not funny, but she can host. Maybe you could host a comedy show there. See, you got a fan in New Bern, which isn't too far away. So there you go. See, she says anytime. So I'll connect you with her, and we'll see what happens. So I think it's time to sign off. I really enjoyed talking with you. It was really fun, Don. You gave us all the details on how to keep up with your career, and it's not going to take long. You're going to blow up.
Oh,
you know, anytime soon would be welcome, but with time.
Absolutely. And with that, you have a great evening. Everybody watching, you have a great evening as well. As you know, I have to promote the Durham Skywriter, so please read the Durham Skywriter. And if you're in the New Bern area, check out New Bern Now. That's an online newspaper, kind of similar to mine, looking at the positive side of life and promoting the good and giving people the information that they know. So be sure to check out New Bern Now. And if you're in my area, check out the Durham Skywriter, durhamskywriter.com. And with that, you have a beautiful day, night, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you later. See you later, Don John. Thanks again.
See you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.